Before we start the podcast, if you guys are wondering what this song is, it's a song called Streetlight Angel by a band called The Crossfire, who are really good friends of mine, and this is their first single. It's their first big song. There's a music video too, which I'll leave the link to in the description. If you guys could go check out the video, leave a like on it and leave a nice comment, I would really appreciate it. I'll also leave a link to their brand new EP, which just came out at midnight last night. It's their first ever EP, and that link will be in the description, so check that out as well. And let's get into the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
No power in the verse can stop me.
What's going on, guys? My name's El De Niro, and welcome to episode 48 of the Midnight Hour as we trail towards episode 50, which we have big plans for. Big plans. You don't even...
Taking it abroad.
Yeah, oh yeah. The Midnight Hour goes abroad, will be what it's called.
Lads on tour.
But you can watch it on a show called Banged Up Abroad. Which is different from what we're doing.
It's not the same, yeah.
Yeah, nightmare. I'm joined today by Loosemore.
Hello.
And nobody else.
Yeah.
So you're about to witness the strength of the least successful duo thus far. Which I only say because the last episode, which was like 5 weeks ago or whatever, it did terribly, to be honest. It's like literally the least successful episode of the Midnight Hour ever. So on one hand I get all these angry comments like, where's my fucking podcast? And then on the other hand it's like, the amount of people who watch this or listen to this has just declined so dramatically. But
it might be to do with the fact that we leave like 4 or 5 week gaps between them, though.
I'm not about to blame myself for problems.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can...
Yeah, let's blame the audience.
I think so.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm going to blame my ridiculous work schedule for the lack of content on my channel overall. Still working really hard, like 12 hours of my day. Every day is gone towards work, so there's nothing I can really do about that when I'm getting home at 7 o'clock and I have like other things in my life that I need to do. But hoping to try and start like a steady balance of content with the upcoming FIFA 16 and various ideas I have swirling around my skull for the podcast itself and stuff like that I want to get done. But in other news, I was on a trip last weekend to Galway in Ireland where I took some really cool photos, so check them out on Instagram.com/El De Niro.
Yeah.
90? Is there a 90?
I think you are a 90, yeah.
I've never ever shouted out my Instagram before, like ever, so that was really weird, and that seemed to come naturally to me, but I didn't even know I was going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You ever just take a photo that you're really happy with?
Yeah,
I got that thing going on. So
cameras have been around for a while, haven't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, they have.
It's weird that we've only just sort of like, as a world, we've only just been like, oh, we're into this. Like, we're into, like, Instagram's like blowing up the whole, photo thing.
Do you find it really, really, really strange? Like, as strange as I do. Like, an alien concept. To the point where you feel... Like, I feel like I have completely lost touch with reality when the media starts talking about selfies as if they are a new thing. Like, people have always taken photographs of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, why is it now all of a sudden like, oh, people take pictures of themselves now? They never did that before. Like, no, they did all the time.
People posed for oil paintings like 1,000 years ago.
Do you know what I mean? But like people, like MySpace pictures where people looking in the mirror with the camera pointed at the mirror.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I just don't understand. Like,
did you have Bebo in Ireland? Because that was like selfies were all over Bebo.
Yeah. Yeah, Bebo was insanely popular here for like a summer.
Yeah,
really
amongst a summer amongst like 14-year-olds.
Oh yeah, probably the worst social network I'd say was Bebo.
Yeah.
Where Facebook is like a fine novel Bebo is a colouring book, a second-hand colouring book, where the person didn't stay inside the line. It's fucking awful.
It'd be amazing if they made like a sequel to The Social Network called The Worst Social Network, and it was about the startup of Bebo.
Do you find it really strange that like most of the people listening to this have no idea what Bebo is? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but we're the right age bracket for Bebo. Like, people listening to this are like, no, they probably haven't even heard of MySpace, to be fair.
I really don't like being in like a different generation of internet user to my like target audience, my demographic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because soon we can use stuff like, I remember my day when we had dial-up.
That's not a thing that I should be able to. That just feels alien to me. But the whole like the media obsession with selfies, like just the fact that they're labeled selfies, that makes me sick. Like the reason I post a picture of my pint of beer and call it a selfie is like a protest against use of the word selfie. I just think it's fucking stupid, and just the idea of it being something new really annoys me as well. I'm sure it's more frequent now than it ever has been with the use of cameras on the front of phones and things like that, but people have always taken pictures of themselves and people have always been vain. I think this culture that's going on now is just the first one to actually embrace it, and I don't even think it's a bad thing if people like can openly admit that they like themselves or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's a fantastic thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually really think that it's great. So I don't know. Whatever, I guess. Just a little gripe that has been niggling in the last few days with the whole, like, I don't know, just if a politician like takes a picture of himself now, it's like, oh, this guy's taking a selfie to be down with the kids. It's like, you shut up. Shut up. But yeah, speaking of being down with the kids, I saw Straight Outta Compton in the cinema last weekend, and it was really, really, really good, I have to say. Ice Cube's son in particular, I actually didn't know for some reason, and I fucking love NWA and I really love hip hop, and I think like I kind of talk about rap a lot on the podcast.
You do, yeah.
I didn't know that Ice Cube's son was playing Ice Cube, and to be honest, I actually stayed in the dark about a lot of the stuff about Straight Outta Compton. Like when I first heard of it a few months ago, I thought it was an upcoming documentary, and I was really surprised pretty much with how they put this movie together without telling me about it. I was also offended, but a quick phone call from Ice Cube reassured me that I was, like,
you and Ice are tight, we know.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, like his son is an unbelievably good actor. Like he it's so weird. Like he played his dad in a movie. I don't know, it's really strange. But yeah, the movie was really good. It's very fun. It's very obviously a movie, and you can tell that Dre and Ice Cube produced it. Like so, like the very start of it, even the insults that people give to the main characters are really just compliments in disguise. Like a lot of the, like every famous person thinks the world was against them at some point. There's this guy who, this is in the opening like 10 minutes of the movie, so this isn't a spoiler as such. But there's this guy who owns a nightclub called Lorenzo, and he lets Dre DJ at his nightclub, and Dre does some gangster rap stuff, and the nightclub owner's like, oh hell no, you gotta play some slow songs, you can't be playing this shit. And he's saying like, Dre man, you're never gonna go anywhere with your career, this gangster rap shit, this is bullshit, you're playing shit music. Don't get me wrong, you're the greatest DJ the world has ever seen, and you're gonna be an unbelievable producer someday, but hell no, this is awful, you're never gonna make it. It's like, don't ever criticize the talent. I don't know, it's really, really strange. And also the movie put about as much effort into Dre's first kid as Dr. Dre did, so you basically never see the kid in the movie at all. Like it's just like it's mentioned that he has a kid, and then you see the kid for like half a scene, and then it's like, oh yeah, anyway.
At least it's realistic.
Yeah, I know. It is completely realistic. But yeah,
But is it the best film about the NWA that you've ever seen?
Probably the top 5 at least. Very, very good. Very well polished. The bass in, I swear to God, they show like live performances of the songs and stuff, like all remade for the movie. But like they've like put like a really heavy bass kick on the old school hip hop on it. So like you're listening to like Fuck the Police or whatever, and the bass is just like thumping through the cinema. It's so good. Like they've definitely like remastered the audio
Right.
And I wouldn't mind if it led to a re-release. I know everything is bass heavy nowadays, but it was really, really good, like, to listen to.
Did they sing the songs as Dre and Cube, or did his kid sing the song? Like, did Ice Cube sing the song and then he mimed it, or did he actually sing
like
the lyrics?
Joaquin Phoenix in Walk the Line.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, they definitely dubbed, like they just lip synced, but did a
Right.
really good job of it. I
Oh,
think
nice.
like it looks very, very authentic. It's just a really good movie, I guess. But yeah, a lot of stuff in it is very, very cheesy. Like a lot of stuff that I really want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it. Even though, like, everything that, I mean, it's real life, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. This isn't spoiler alert because it actually happened.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all just
20
stuff.
years ago. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really, really good. I definitely recommend it. And I saw a trailer for that Everest movie while I was there,
Yeah.
which gives away the first, I don't know, hour and a half of the movie in the trailer. Like, the trailer to that movie is outrageously spoilerish. It tells you they're gonna try and climb Everest, and it's a big deal. No one's ever done it. Blah 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 blah. They quite clearly climb Everest. They reach the top of Everest, and then the movie starts, I guess. But surely that's gonna take like an hour for all of that stuff to happen. They've got to build characters and
Yeah.
develop relationships and stuff.
Well, so this is just a movie about people climbing Everest.
Yeah, it's a true story. Like, it's basically, The Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
It's that, but to do with
Well, mountain.
yeah, people who went to Everest instead of people who went fishing one time. But yeah, it looks alright. I'll probably see it because I bet the effects in it are really cool. In the same way I'd go see The Perfect Storm just to see that giant wave
Yeah.
one more time. But that's kind of a terrifying thing. Like, this is a really, really strange topic to move into, but I bet drowning is like literally the worst.
There's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's like no. Also, being set on fire, I guess, is pretty bad.
Yeah, but I hear that you would die like it would be really, really sore. Yeah, I guess it would be actually. Yeah, the same.
Yeah.
It's an
But I
interesting.
suppose, I mean, if it's that. I mean, people get cremated, so there's a sort of a sense of like burning, karmic effect, I guess. But no one like is like dies and then they just like, well, no, they do. They put you out to sea, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like I don't know where I'm going with this because obviously they put people in a cannon or whatever. Yeah.
Into a cannon. They sell your rights to the circus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this corpse devour this man.
Mm.
Yeah, I was listening to a lot of Brand New lately. The emo slash punk slash alternative band.
Yeah.
And they've got this song called "Play Crack the Sky," which is about a ship that runs aground off Montauk Point in the 1950s. It's a real thing that happened, and Jesse Lacey from Brand New was just writing a song about it or whatever. But it one day I was on the bus and I just listened to all the lyrics and it really just got me, like the reality of there's this line in it where it's to the port I see the lighthouse through the sleet and the rain, and I wish for one more day to give my love and repay debts. The morning finds our bodies washed up 30 miles west. And it made me think, Jesus, that would be the worst. Like, you're at sea in sleet and rain,
Yeah.
and you can see land, but you're so far from it you would never make it swimming, and you want more time to just repay debts and shit like that. And I don't know,
That's the thing that goes through your mind, like just the sort of not the literal payment of debts, like your fucking phone bill, but presumably they mean like the debt of I don't know, friendship. I don't know. I mean, there's not he's not like sort of drowning, thinking about shit, I didn't pay my phone bill.
I'm doing this in my job. I've been moved to legals and stuff like that, so I'm dealing with a lot of, well, this is really just today, but apparently it's going to be an ongoing thing. But I was dealing with deceased cases all day, and just having all these documents that I have to sift through and find out what they need to submit, dealing with lawyers to find out if their documents are sufficient and stuff like that. And have like people's wills and death certs, and it tells you like the cause of death and
Jesus, how do you read that stuff and then come home and are not just sitting in a chair quietly, just sort of like, you know?
yeah, that's actually kind of the reason that I mentioned the drowning thing. Really, like
Right.
it's just on my mind as a really sort of brutal thing at the moment. Got a whole lot of death going on in my head. But it's like just reading someone's will today, and like the words they used, like they left like a lot of money to their best friend, but just said this money is for my friend who like provided like invaluable friendship and just such loyalty and all, and it was like fucking heart wrenching to read and just think,
I
like,
bet, yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is someone's fucking dying wish. Like, I don't know, it's pretty fucked up. But
Yeah, you've got to read it at work and then you go for lunch afterwards. It's
I
like,
know,
how are you
yeah.
meant to process that as a human being? Yeah.
It's really hard. Like I guess like I'm pretty good at developing a sort of a sense of humor around anything that's threatening or that might pierce the skin. Like
Yeah,
you
sure.
develop a sort of a thicker skin or whatever. But it is, I don't know. I suppose it's difficult to when you have like a lot of empathy in general. Like I don't know, I feel like I think about things a lot more than a normal person does. I don't know if that's just my arrogance or narcissism or whatever, but I feel like I think about anything and everything in great depth all the time. Like I feel like I'm never not processing information, so it is hard to just glance over and think, oh yeah, well that's a normal thing to see.
Yeah.
When it's
No, I'm pretty much the same. But I try and sort of I overthink a lot of things to the point where you end up not doing something because you're like, well, this is the end result.
I know.
This is definitely not good. Why would I even bother? Yeah.
It can be so demotivating sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I don't really understand. So one of the greater difficulties with life, I think, is just overthinking everything to such an extent that you don't want to do anything.
I think if you have one of those brains, especially, it's just like fighting it up. You want to kind of be more stupid, so that you don't have a brain that goes, but then if I do this, that'll happen, and then eventually down the line you've been hit by a bus, and you're like, well, that's not worth it, then, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just want to be like, no, I'm going to do this thing, and then that's it.
And we're all gonna die anyway, so
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all going to probably drown when the rivers rise up and the sea people get us.
Well, I said something like that earlier. I think I was on the beach. I was on the beach with my girlfriend, and I just said, like, such a shame that one day all of this will be swallowed by the ocean or something like that. It's
like a lovely moment by the beach, and you're like, well,
yeah. I say that, like, I remember, like, I cross the river Liffey in Dublin every day on my way to work, and I'm still so fascinated by the way the tide goes in and out. Like, that one day the water is quite low, and then the next day it's like nearly swallowing the bridge. And
it's amazing that it's to do with the fucking moon.
Moon, I know, yeah. It's lunacy, get it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, nice. I thought that was alright, but I walked towards the bus with this girl from work, and like one day I was just like, well, the water is really high today. I always comment on the height of the water. It's like, it fascinates me like no end. And I said, can't wait for it to just rise up and swallow this entire town or something like that. And then like the next day she was like, when is this flood supposed to be happening? And I was like, what flood? And she's like, well, you're not talking about some flood. And I was like, oh no, I'm just talking about the apocalypse. I mention that all the time. You can probably ignore that. I don't think you'll be around for it, but it will happen. Like, I don't know. You know the way you're just really weird, but when you're in work you have to be a normal person, and then
I hate that. Yeah.
Overstep the boundary sometimes, and you're like, shit, they're seeing the real me. And
my mum went into I work at where I work, and they came into the phone shop part of the store, and my mum bought a phone from there, obviously, and so I see the guys who work in the phone shop a lot, and they came up to me and like, oh, we met your mum today. Isn't she? She's lovely, isn't she? She's so nice. And I'm like, no, she's not. She's a piece of shit. And I walked off, and I thought, nah, that was the wrong thing to say. Why did I say that? Like, as a joke, guys thought I called my mum a piece of shit to these people who are like, she's so nice. Yeah. And I should have taken the compliment. She's lovely. And but I just didn't. I can't. My mind doesn't go there. It goes to like, say something weird, you idiot. Say something weird.
Yeah. I know. I do the exact same thing in work as well. Like when I was like 6 weeks into my contract, they were like, "Isn't it weird how like El De Niro used to be such a nice young man and now he's just really angry? Like, what has the phone line done to him?" And I'm just like, "Nah, I've been like this the whole time, but you don't know." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the phone. Oh wow, those people, huh? Difficult dealing with them all the time." But like, I don't know. Dealing with the public is quite difficult, I think.
Yeah.
Like to do every single day. You deal with so many different people, and you just wonder how some of them even get up in the morning. Like,
I wonder how some of them don't fall down.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, some of them are just so stupid. Like a lady the other day, she hit another car at work in the work car park because she accelerated rather than reverse. So she accelerated. She put her foot down on the pedal to accelerate rather than to like brake and like go backwards.
Jesus Christ.
How do you get to that point?
The only thing I can think of is that she was driving a BMW and pressed reverse instead of first gear. I pressed, like, put the gear into first.
She pressed X.
Yeah, she pressed X instead of triangle,
Yeah.
which is an honest mistake, I
Yeah,
think.
you can do that. Yeah, you can have sometimes you can have like jittery thumbs, and that'll do it, won't it? Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Speaking of really stupid, the thing in Texas where a 14-year-old boy, of what he had like brown skin, so he made a clock, and everyone in the school was like, "Oh my God, it's a bomb, you guys!"
Yeah.
And he got arrested for making a clock in science class at age 14 because he had brown skin, in Texas.
Well, his name was Ahmed Mohammed, so
Then,
I mean that's obvious. Then he's a I mean, don't bring a clock to school.
exactly.
But I mean it's just embarrassing from everybody's point of view, isn't it? You know.
Did you see CNN's headline was Obama to invite kids suspected of making bomb to the White House? Like,
Really?
that is the most, like, it's so what do you call it? Maybe that was the Onion I saw that on, because the more I think about that, the less true it seems that they could actually print
Get away
that.
with that? Yeah.
Yeah, but it is the American media, when it has an agenda, just does like extravagant, excessive, unbelievable hyperbole, like better than any country I've ever seen. So there is that. But
I mean, it's just. I mean, did you see what Obama tweeted though?
yeah, I really
So like
liked his
full
tweet.
clock Ahmed or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool clock. Want to come to the White House and show
Yeah,
me the
yeah.
clock? Yeah, it's crazy. I saw like another picture that was two teenage kids at a school in Texas holding rifles and with smiles on their faces and everything. And it was like both of these pictures were taken in Texas, and the other picture was the 14-year-old kid in handcuffs with the saddest look
But the
ever.
best bit is like he's got like a NASA shirt on.
Yeah.
So he's like he likes science.
I know, it's unreal.
Yeah.
I saw like the scientific community had like this outpouring of incredibly like humbling and gracious tweets, and this one guy was like, "I blew up the lab in my science class 3 times and I was never arrested, but I was praised and encouraged for my curiosity." And it's like, that's the difference. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way that if the kid was white that he would have gotten arrested, and that's just a fact. Like,
Yeah.
it's racial profiling, and it's a really like negative effect of just overly. I don't even. I guess like 9/11, like it's like the anniversary of 9/11 or whatever, so
Yeah.
people are on edge, but also it's just, I don't know.
But if you actually thought about it, why would that 14-year-old like why that scenario? Why would they think, this is it? He's gonna this 14-year-old kid has brought a bomb to school. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it doesn't. Yeah. It's just.
It's okay.
There are no words. There are no words.
Have you seen like some of the stuff the Daily Mail is saying about the refugee crisis as well? Like,
Oh, I bet it's really informed and knowledgeable, isn't it?
oh,
Or-
absolutely, yeah. It's we're bringing hundreds of thousands of ISIS members that are hiding and pretending to be refugees coming into Europe, and we need to shut the borders right now, obviously, because
Well, I'm not going to say there's not one. You know, there's probably one. You know.
yeah, there probably is one ISIS member
Yeah.
trying to get into the England right now.
And at that point, that's why we shouldn't bring let many in, because that one, you know, could, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just a very. I mean, somehow they'll link it to the death of Diana anyway, won't they? Like, just be like, all these migrants.
I think I'm gonna ban the Daily Mail from the podcast from here on out. Like, just stop myself from accepting that they exist.
Do you reckon?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
they contribute nothing but vile, like,
Yeah.
remarks and vitriol.
Can we just say from now on the Daily Mail won't be on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're declining to speak to any Daily Mail reporters from here on out. They are officially banned from their reporting capacity in the midnight hour.
Yeah. And if they want to speak to us, they can speak to our secretary.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually going to make a website for the midnight hour, I think. And that's
really?
something I'm going to plan on doing. Yeah, I feel like just the brand. I really like the midnight hour and how it's a completely separate entity from anything else on my channel. And I want to like evolve it in some way because it doesn't collect any like residual subscribers or anything like that. Like, the only reason that it even exists is because I used to make Call of Duty videos and people were like, hey, you've got all this gameplay stuff going on, but also you talk about things, so how about you talk about things in a video every week?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we said before that if we can do like different things, so that the podcast is one thing from the midnight hour, and then we do like games that we play or whatever, you know, FIFA.
Yeah. I originally wanted to put all of that on a separate channel, but I just couldn't be dealing with the fucking hassle of having to log in and out and get the other channel partnered because it would need videos over 10 minutes, obviously, and all of that. The hassle, I was just like, fuck it, I can't be bothered. But, yeah, maybe I should look at it, or, like, I want to get a website up and running, I think, and I want to get the podcast on iTunes, and I want to do all of these things. I just cannot find the time. But,
does it cost anything than to put a thing on a website than it would to put on iTunes? Or does it cost more for iTunes to put the podcast on iTunes, sorry?
I'd imagine the cost will be the same because ultimately you're going to be paying for it to be hosted somewhere. Like, you wouldn't host it on your own website because you wouldn't have the server power to host files of that size. So I don't really know. Do you know what? If anybody in the comment section is smart with this kind of thing, like, reach out to me because I really haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing, and I look at this stuff and if I don't get it straight away I give up because I'm very impulsive and I'm very lazy, and it's my Achilles heel as a human being is I just have an unbelievable capacity for laziness, and even if if I'm doing something really important and the opportunity to do nothing presents itself, I'm like, just do that.
But it's the overthinking it, isn't it? Because you think about the thing you should be doing, and you're like, but the best case scenario is that, you know, that happens. Or if I do nothing, best case scenario is nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, always choose nothing.
A lot of it too is like, you think that, like last night for example, I went to bed at midnight. I don't know why, but my brain process was like, I'm gonna be tired tomorrow, but I'm awake now and I want to do stuff now. So that's a problem for the tomorrow El De Niro. It's not a problem for me right now. I don't have to do anything now. I just have to have a good time, which I did. And then the morning comes and I'm like, why did I do that? Like, this is my problem now. This is the worst thing ever. Why did I let myself do this?
Why did cool El De Niro from last night make me do this?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I think it's linked to that in some way, that I'm so bad at things like being prepared and being organized. I think organization and just discipline are two things that I would so much benefit from if I had a lot of them. Like, I think, like, if you think of the smartest people in your class, are not necessarily the smartest, but the people who got the highest grades were just really fucking organized and really prepared.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I mean, the reason I dropped out of college is because I wasn't organised, really. I didn't put the effort in, and therefore the grades didn't work out. But it wasn't because I was dumb. I was, you know, we've had this conversation about, like, I think between us we're obviously fairly clever on the podcast, but it's just a case of our organisation skills and our want to actually learn isn't there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
Well, it is. It's difficult to say. I mean, I do like learning about stuff, but then on the other hand, I'm like, ugh, you know.
it's like I don't know, like a cognitive dissonance that
Yeah.
you just, I don't know, like two two like attitudes that are just completely at war with one another the whole time.
Mm.
Like I have so many things that I want to achieve, but I'm just lazy, and like you really have to accept that sometimes too. That like a lot of the things, like there's a ghost in the machine, like that you blame other things. Like I've always like bemoaned my lack of motivation for everything. I've always just said like I just do not have the motivation to pursue this. But like it really is just that I'm lazy. I'm just a
Yeah, that's what
really
it comes
lazy
down to.
person.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's really annoying. I don't know. Like there's no way to. Obviously, the way to like fight it is to just stop being lazy. But
I think to do that one thing that you don't want to do, and then hopefully that'll like kickstart something in your brain. You're like, I can do this or whatever. But you don't. I rarely take that step of doing that thing. Like, oh, I should. Yeah, I'm doing. I should do that thing, and then just do it, rather than overthink it and then not do it, and you're like, wow, it's not worth it, and then just.
yeah, I go through phases with it. I find I'm at a stage in work now where I'm really comfortable with what I'm doing. Like
Right.
I'm very good at what I do, and
Yeah.
like I say that, and it sounds arrogant, but that's the level of confidence I've developed from persistently achieving like every goal in work and consistently being told by my superiors that I'm doing a great job. So I know I'm good at
Employee
what
of
I
the
do.
month, right?
Yeah, employee of the month every month,
Yeah.
in a row, which
Hmm.
is pretty nice. They give a washing machine to the person who's employee of the month, so I have like 4 washing machines just sitting out in my garage. Um, but I'm like so good at my job now that I'm like, oh well, like this doesn't test me. Like I'm not challenged by this, so I can leave this and not do it. And then all these little things build up, and before I know it, I'm lagging behind because I haven't done simple things that like anybody could do. It just because it just doesn't challenge me, and that's stupid, and that's so arrogant, and it's so lazy. But I'm at that stage now where I find myself doing that almost every day, and it's like, that's why like I'm kind of happy to be started on this legal stuff, but it's sort of hurting my head a little bit. But
Just because it's something different.
yeah, but like a few weeks ago, I was in the office until literally midnight, like figuring out stuff, like doing all this detective work on things that didn't balance, like things that didn't work. And
Right.
I really fucking enjoyed it. Like it was midnight, and they really just sent me home to be like, "Here, you've been here like all day. You've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Like you need to go home now." And the company paid for a taxi home and all, and it was cool. But like I was ready to do more work then at midnight, and now
Are you
it's
not
like,
interested in the sort of that side of like I don't know what would work, what sort of work that would um get you, like sort of maybe investigative journalism or something. I don't know. That sort of
yeah,
side of stuff.
the thing that kind of terrifies me about journalism is actually the lack of organization in it at the moment, in the sense that if you're a journalist nowadays, you're really not going to be making money for like 5 years, and in that time you have to be really disciplined yourself, because
Yeah.
you're probably going to start off doing freelance stuff, or you're going to be unemployed. You're going to be doing like what I do on
You're going to
YouTube.
be working for a website, essentially.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. You have to like do everything yourself. Everything that you do, like you're not gonna make a whole lot of money. Like it's gonna be like what I'm like on YouTube, in the sense that you make money and it's nice, but it's not enough to live on or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Sure.
Um, and I think like that's what sort of scares, and also just the sort of state of disarray that journalism as a medium is in right now. Like a lot of things have moved online, and it's very much changed. Like there's a whole lot of clickbait that rises to the top of everything, like the Metro and BuzzFeed
Yeah.
and
And even the Daily Mail. Well, we can't talk about the Daily Mail, but even the
the
newspaper.
Independent, shockingly,
Yeah.
is turned into a horrible like rag that's just
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
much clickbait every day, like it's unreal. And then like obviously there's the Huffington Post, which consistently just prints lies and then 2 days later prints a retraction at the end. But like they don't actually say, "Oh, we were wrong about that thing 2 days ago." But if you go to the article from 2 days ago, it will say at the bottom, "Oh, this has since been amended, and this is not true," and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of like money to be made in working the system and like using algorithms and stuff like that, rather than actual true journalism. And I think if you were someone who believed in ethically like true journalism, that would be really, really disheartening and demotivating.
Yeah.
But as a medium, I really respect it. I'd really love to be one, but I just don't have the self-control or the dedication or anything to do it. I think like I have like a really specific skill set, which involves mainly like the murdering and the maiming of Eastern European human traffickers when they kidnap my family members and stuff.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
It's hard to find work in that area, you know.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we started talking about all of this, but it's interesting to think that. Remember we did that episode where we talked about like education and employment and stuff like that?
Yeah, we did. That was like was that the same episode? Was that
We did education 1 week and then employment.
The next, yeah.
Has anything changed for you by way of what you want to do, like your dream thing? Like, are you any closer to that since?
Not really. I mean, obviously, I got quite ill recently, which kind of set. Not that I was really making any headway with anything, like my dream scenario, but it doesn't help, you know, when you get ill. But I think I'm clearly not doing what I like to do, but I'm sure that's the same of 95% of the country, or even for the people who listen to the podcast. But yeah, it's just you know, about, I guess, just making what you do as a hobby maybe. And trying to, like, obviously with the YouTube channel now, what we're doing is something we enjoy. It's trying to transfer that to something that will actually, you know, benefit you in the long run or make money or whatever.
I find that I do a whole lot of, you know how I was like, oh well, staying up this late is a problem for the me of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I do an awful lot of imagining what my life is like in the future, and in the future I've magically solved all my problems. Like the future me has a job and a house because he's gotten a job that paid enough to buy a house.
Yeah. Well, that's the same. I think I do that as well. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how he's done that. Like there's a gap missing between where I am now and then future me, which is like somewhere, you know, I'm a professional singer and you know, it's just there's like a gap. I don't know how in that little gap to get from where I am now to that point.
I know why that happens, and it's because of TV. Like, you watch any TV show, and everyone who is in it, despite, like, regardless of their job or whatever, they live in a really, really nice house, and they have a really nice car, or at least a standard car, and they just do it because on TV people have infinite money. Like, nobody works.
They have TV money. Yeah.
Nobody gets €390 a day, or sorry, a week, in TV land. Like, they all live in big, nice, open spaces and all.
Well, it's the whole Friends thing. Like, is the best one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that in the very beginning, I don't think, apart from like maybe Ross, like Chandler obviously had a job, but Joey definitely didn't. Phoebe didn't. Rachel didn't. Like, how are they living in Manhattan, essentially, you know?
In big apartments.
Yeah, massive apartments, yeah. Well, I actually think they were, like ripping off the system, weren't they? Because, like, they had it in their grandmother's name, or that was
true, yeah, I did forget about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that, though, that on TV. I think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is great, because...
It's the best example, yeah, because Charlie is basically a homeless person.
Yeah, like... And it's true, like, they all own a pub, which is a really sweet thing to do, but they still don't even make a whole lot of money from it, and it's, like, quite well documented that they don't. But then other stuff on TV is outrageous. Like, I guess Suits is a bad example because they all do make a lot of money, and that's one of the things at the forefront of that show. But, I don't know, off the top of my head, what even is another TV show that I watch? Breaking Bad. They lived in an incredible house in Breaking Bad. And it was supposed to be apparent that they didn't have a whole lot of money at all. Like, but they had a really nice house, a modest car, considering they had one income.
Yeah. Did they have a pool as well?
Yeah, a pool, yeah. And, like, obviously the kid, the the kid had a disability, which would have eaten a whole lot of money. Because considering the show itself is kind of a commentary on American healthcare, you got to believe that they would have put a lot of money into like that kid's upbringing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But magically, they drive around in a really nice car. Even that, yeah, Walt gets a second job at the
car wash,
or
yeah.
whatever. But still, like, that's still just two incomes pushing that house they have is gigantic. It's like, I don't know, crazy. But yeah, that's a pretty good example of how TV fucks with your ability to accurately perceive the future. Because I have like this huge new plan for my future that I'm not going to talk about just yet, because I have this habit of talking about, like earlier on you heard me say, oh, I want to make a website for the podcast, I want to put all
Yeah.
the
The problem is the podcast holds you accountable for stuff.
I know, yeah. These are all things that I'm not going to do. These are all things that are either going to
Yeah.
happen magically from me standing in the middle of the room with my hands on my hips and saying, okay, this is going to happen now. And then snapping my fingers.
Yeah.
And like, it's just not going to happen realistically. Unless one day I get bored and I feel a surge of energy. It probably won't happen. But yeah, I've got this huge new plan for my future that's probably going to happen, I think. I don't think I've ever been as serious about my future as I'm being right now. So, like, that's why I asked if you had gotten any closer to your, like, dream job, as it were, or...
No, not really. I mean, probably further away, if I'm honest. You know.
Like, you keep, like, writing stuff for submission, but then you just delete it again. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just press backspace until all...
My whole
the-
life is my Twitter draft folder. That's what it is. It's like I write something really good, and they're like, nah, it doesn't actually make sense.
I've
Does it?
gotten...
And then it's like, oh, it does make sense, but maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody else, and then I'll delete it, or it'll just
Yeah.
stay in the folder forever, and I'll just never hit send. You know.
I do that with so many things now. Like,
Yeah.
I was on the bus home today and I had this tweet made saying, my bus home smells like a gym bag, had a fight with a hangover and lost.
Right.
And I just didn't tweet it because I was like, ugh, am I being too wordy there? Like,
Yeah, I'm
this...
constantly like that. Like, it's just like my overthinking comes into me. I use too many words. Like, for just explaining things, I'll then over-explain things with like brackets and parentheses, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Just be a normal person, and then it's just horrible.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's that overthinking that ruins everything. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it hard to get myself out of things like that. But being aware, I think, only makes it worse as well.
It does, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
someone can't just sit you down and be like, here, listen, you are really good at everything, but you are so lazy that, like, if you wanted to do something and put your mind to it, you would do it. So just do it, and you'd be
I
like...
think the thing is, if you didn't know you were lazy, you'd be like, oh, that is the thing.
I
But the
know.
fact we know we're lazy, we're like, yeah, we already know. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
it's the worst. Like, this is
If
the
only there was a
worst.
thing that you could like visit like a person, and they would like, get like a psychiatrist or something. Is that a thing? A psychiatrist? I don't know.
No, they don't exist.
No, I don't know.
It's funny, right? Like, you know the movie Limitless?
Yeah.
And how much we hate that. That pill that he takes, everybody in the world wants that pill because it makes you achieve your full potential. But the thing is, that pill exists, and it's called ecstasy. No, the pill
It's
exists.
called, yeah.
It's just hard work and maybe a bit of aspirin every now and then.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
never hurt anybody.
Caffeine, just a lot of caffeine. Yeah.
What's that American drug that's the MDMA thing? Adderall?
Adderall, yeah. Adderall.
I firmly believe that if you purchased industrial quantities of Adderall, you would never need to do anything again because that drug would get you through. I don't know why I'm saying these things. I don't even believe it. I'm sure it's a fine drug, but don't take it unless you've been prescribed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, honestly, that Limitless thing, literally, hard work, discipline, and determination will get you all of those things that you want.
Such a shame neither of us have those things.
I know. That
Yeah.
is the worst. I'm gonna start, like, reading lots of books, I think. You know.
Oh, I might read one, and then
Yeah.
just give up on it halfway through when it doesn't. When I'm like, I'd rather play FIFA or whatever.
I get lots of plans like that as well. Like, oh, I'm gonna read this book. It's gonna help me in some way, or it's gonna like put me on a certain path or whatever, and then I just think, when the fuck am I gonna get the time to read a book?
Yeah.
I don't even have the time to play the video games that I want to play.
Yeah.
How am I gonna
And
find
books
time
don't even come before video games. That's the sad thing. Like, it's like books, it's video games, then it's do nothing, then it's
to...
sleep, then it's books. Then books are like,
I know.
that's the order of the, you know.
I ordered like 5 books on Amazon quite recently as well, and I'm just like, I don't know why I did that, because like the only book I read in the last, I don't know, 5 years maybe, is The Raven by my friend David Wicks, which will be in the description to this video, so you should check it out. That The Raven by David Wicks is now 99 cents on
Yeah,
Amazon.
get it. It's the GOAT book of all time, isn't it?
How ridiculous is that? That's like 30 pence. Go and buy it. Not enough people buy it.
That's not even
So
like, that's not even a penny a page. That's, yeah, I don't.
It's fucking stupidly
Yeah.
cheap, like for what is like a genuinely really high quality book. But you can find the links to that in the description. I spoke about it on last week's episode. I know a lot of people didn't really get last week's episode because it wasn't uploaded. It was like 5 weeks ago. But I know that like a lot of people didn't see it or whatever. YouTube has had problems. That's fine. Go and buy the fucking book and shut the fuck up. Yeah, so that whole discussion about the ghost in the machine has had me thinking about what I'm gonna do with my life, and it's pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, but it's just about, at least you know that you want to do something and you're confident that it'll happen. That's like an amazing step to make, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like I'm really good at like admin stuff, but what challenges me the most and what excites me the most is like figuring stuff out.
Puzzle
So
solving.
I think, yeah, like I really like that aspect of the job that I do. Like I'm a project administrator essentially, so all of the sort of more difficult things about that do excite me, and I do find it really interesting as well. So I don't know. I'm not gonna be staying at the company I'm at for too long. Probably a few more months if I'm lucky. But then I'll have to start hunting for a job again, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, but you can use this experience surely to go into similar fields and more fields aimed at what you want, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You know what's cool actually? An agency, a job agency, approached me about 4 or 5 months ago, and they made me do these aptitude tests, and they made me do a typing test, and the fastest typist they had at the time was 92 words a minute, and I do like 157 words a minute, so I fucking destroyed their top typist list thing, and I got a call from this company called KPMG, and they wanted me to work as a typist for them for a salary of like 25 to 30 grand a year. Yeah, it's unreal. I turned it down.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, but I don't really want to be a typist.
But you're
skill is
surely the
always there.
Usain Bolt of typists, aren't you? 157 words a second or whatever you just said. That's incredible.
Per minute.
Yeah, that's insane. That's yeah. You should write books in like half an hour.
I have a feeling that Jack Kerouac sat down with a type. I have a feeling Jack Kerouac was a very, very fast typer. I have a feeling that's why. I think when he wrote On the Road, all these ideas just spilled out of his head and straight onto the typewriter. I think if I had that determination one day, I could write a book like in fucking record time. But I always find that the nature of my work and what I do, I find it so hard to go back over things I've read. Like I'm definitely my harshest critic in that sense. Like it's a Twitter thing, really. Like reading a draft of your tweet and just going, nah.
Yeah.
That's not the one. That's not what I was.
And also getting frustrated with your grammar as well. That's one thing I do. Like you'll type something, or you'll see other people type like poor grammar, and you're just like, well, how why have they done that? Like, how can you confuse you are for your? This is not if you're on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter as much as I used to, but it's a place constantly filled with that sort of thing. And you're just like, why?
The thing that annoys me the most is people stealing other people's
Oh yeah,
tweets.
it's a nightmare.
It's really like in the FIFA community, right? And this is maybe a harsh thing to say, but it is very hard to find somebody in the FIFA community who is legitimately funny in a kind of an original way. Like, most of the jokes you see, like,
Are
'cause I follow a lot of
rehashed
people.
jokes, yeah.
Yeah, like, they're all dumbed down. And when they do post a really good joke, you just have to copy it and paste it into Twitter and see that it's stolen.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, why do you do that? Like, you're a big brand with lots of followers. Like, because I kind of have aligned myself with the FIFA community, sometimes I feel like the only person in there that, like, tries to make original, like, I don't know, like, personality-based jokes on Twitter. And when I actually do that and come up with something really good, and, like, my few thousand followers retweet it a lot or whatever, and then someone who follows me
Steals it
to their 100 and whatever thousand
Yeah.
followers, and it's so, like, why did you not just press
Yeah.
retweet? Like, why have we developed a culture where it's okay to just steal a joke? And more so, how do people not know that this person obviously didn't come up with this because it doesn't fit their personality at all? Like, that, I find that, like,
It's the same.
as well, like,
Nep did it to one of my tweets, and it just crushed it.
Yeah.
Like, I've got like 40 retweets for the Fast and Furious joke, and he got like 800 or whatever. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's just like, whatever. It's because that kind of like brings it around to, the fat Jewish thing that was raging on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago.
The fat Jew.
And
yeah.
like, he obviously, I think he like credits people on Instagram.
He doesn't. He crops their name out. He crops everything.
Well, he does now. I've seen a couple of things that he's posted recently that he like in brackets puts the original poster or the tumble.
I still, that is still not
Exactly. Yeah, you should actually
should
retweet the person who did it, or give them complete full credit, or don't post it at all. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's really annoying. Jomny's
Yeah.
son on Twitter. He is the greatest Twitter account probably, apart from Drill. But he, like, when people steal his tweets, he replies to them with, like, OMG, so true, and the crying smiley face thing. Like, it's so good.
I think it was it Johnny's son recently who like trolled the whole internet into thinking.
Yeah, the Will Smith thing.
Yeah. That is so absolutely genius. Yeah.
For how do you explain? Basically, he tweeted this picture saying, "Oh my God, Will O. Smith and Jada N. Smith," and it was pictures of him having Googled Will Smith's middle name, and it was Willard Oliver Smith, making his name Willow Smith, and his wife Jada Naomi Pinkett Smith, Jada Naomi, Jada N. Smith, Jaden Smith. And he was like, "Oh my God, this is how they name their kids. It's amazing." And it has 20,000 retweets and 25,000.
But the best thing is the comments. The comments that all of them mostly are like, "Oh, we already knew this dude. Like, this is old news. Like, this is like people thinking it's already a thing." Like, it's so genius. Yeah.
I know.
So good.
It's amazing. It's really like we've such a like snarky, smarmy culture online with Twitter. Like, if you look at any EA tweet, the responses are just diaves, fuck you, you cunt, get cancelled. Like, the worst thing. Like, I saw one earlier where it was like EA retweeted this thing saying an important information about the two of the women's teams on FIFA 16, and the response was like, "Oh, are they getting bigger tits?" And it's like, what compels you to that? It's not even funny, and it has like 79 favorites and stuff like that, and it's just so like, it's not imaginative, it's not anything, like, it's
that's why the people I follow on Twitter, I a genius. The stuff they do is just hilarious, and it's original as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of Twitter that I absolutely hate, but I surround myself with people I follow. It makes it enjoyable because obviously they tweet a lot of good stuff. So
I really like the way that my followers have like started to respond to all of my jokes in a joking way, and it's like we all have this collective personality now, and it's really a lot of fun.
It's like a same consciousness type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like I remember I used to do those Moyes memes
Yeah.
tweets that were like making fun of the fact that everybody in the world tweeted a picture of David Moyes in the Man United chair saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. So like when David Moyes started doing well, I'd tweet something like David Moyes and the speech bubble saying like, oh, I have some idea what I'm doing, whatever. And like I did one of them once and it got like 106 retweets and 80 favorites. And then Bateson robbed it, like, or nabbed, as they say. And he tweeted the exact same thing, and he got like less retweets than me, even though he has way more followers. Because my followers knew that that was such a mini joke, that it wasn't just the joke that's funny, it's the fact that it's me saying it. And that like really that made me feel like pretty good about
I think it's weird how people who follow certain people on Twitter, they almost find these pockets of people who do the same things. It's strange. Like, I suppose it's not strange. It's just how society works, isn't it? You find pockets of people who do similar stuff and like similar things, but it's a micro version of that on Twitter, isn't it? Like people.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's an interesting reflection of like online culture. And like another thing I find really interesting is Facebook, where
it's a piece of shit and it's a horrible place to be.
Yeah, but everyone has their real name attached.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And like, without even having alcohol or drugs or anything, these people are just saying some like outrageously, like sometimes racist or xenophobic things without thinking that they're in the wrong. Like, I don't know, it's really, really strange. Like, people will respond to like articles that Facebook is great for resurrecting fake articles and creating outrage amongst your friends. Like, I saw this one that fucking Meninist Twitter account, which is fucking vile. Like, but they tweeted this article saying, woman accuses man who saved her from drowning of raping her, and it was completely fucking fake from a like so-called satirical thing, like literally a made-up story. And you see all these people, like I saw it tweeted or put on Facebook by like I don't know, the Bible or one of those things, and all the comments were like, oh, she's a fucking cunt, or like, oh, I hope she gets raped for real, and stuff like that. And it's like, these are people with their real names on Facebook posting this fucking vile stuff about a fake article. Like, what they're really outraged about there is their own fucking stupidity. And it's like, the fact that they haven't even bothered to research it just shows that they really just have this core hatred for whatever it is they're trying to say, like, be it some racist or sexist thing. And that's what the anger is. And they don't even need a real example of something in order to spit that out. It's just like, oh, here, this gives me an opportunity to say what I think about this topical thing. I think we should send all the refugees home because some of them are probably terrorists. Like,
but I think it's like a small town. I mean, I live in quite a small town, and it's so many, like, there's just so many idiotic, like, the people on Facebook, I mean...
I used to live in a small town, and I found it very, very difficult. I've lived in a few small towns. One in particular I just found way too difficult, with that everyone knows everyone, and I don't know, I couldn't really deal with it, and it was really uncomfortable, like, being in that kind of an environment, like the goldfish bowl of an entire town, and it was just too, I had to... I mean,
there was I was in a hospital waiting room today, and there was a guy sitting, we were all waiting in these chairs, and there was all these guys at the front, and they seemingly all knew each other, but they didn't, they just happened to share similar stuff, being in a hospital, and I sat at the back, and there's this old guy talking about this other old guy and this woman, and he was saying, he said, yeah, left the wife 27 years ago, went out for a pint of milk, never came back, I bet the bitch is still waiting there for a cup of tea. And then the other bloke next to him laughed hysterically, like it's the funniest thing he'd ever fucking heard. And then, a minute later, he said, yeah, but the cancer's spreading, so I don't think it looks good. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, you fucking deserve that, you silly bastard. You think, who are these people? And they just live their lives, like, and they joke about just horrible, it just really does my head in, like, just, there are people out there who live like that, and it's just awful, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like they're not open to any kind of, like, like self-discovery
No.
or anything. It's just so, I don't know. Like, I will preface this by saying most taxi journeys I have are really pleasant and the drivers are really great. But you do
Yeah,
get
you
the
do.
odd
Yeah.
one where it's just this guy and he's just like,
He just happens to be an
oh,
English Defence League guy or something.
yeah, yeah, or like, I like, look, I have no problem with homeless people who are actually homeless, but it's the ones that come up to you in the street begging for money, and you know full well that they have a job and they're just doing it because they want your money, and it's like,
That's
no,
not a
like,
thing. Yeah.
while those people do definitely exist, they are in the
Yeah.
fucking like, they exist on such a low frequency that you don't ever
Yeah.
see them and have probably
Yeah. You
statistically
heard
never
that
seen one.
once, or you read that in the paper. You've never seen that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's so much information
Yeah.
available now that if someone believes something like that, they can find enough evidence to support like a rallying cry that it's
Yeah.
the truth. And it's so like people who are built like that, I feel like it's actually just an instinctive response towards the fact that they don't want to give their money to people, which is fair because everyone has this idea of like, oh, if I saw a homeless person, like I wouldn't give them money, I'd just buy them food and they would really appreciate it and they would eat it and they would love me for it. But oftentimes that's not really how it works. Like you never, like if you see a homeless person and you say, "Oh, I'll buy you food, but I'm not going to give you money," like a lot of the times you won't get a good response from that because it's condescending and it's demeaning, and to them it's like dehumanizing
Yeah.
and stuff. So like you have so many different reasons why that's just not how it is in reality, even though you would think it is because you've been conditioned to assume
Yeah.
that obviously that's how it would be. And I don't know, people just get so strangely vitriolic about things that they don't understand or don't want to
Yeah.
understand. And yeah, to brag about leaving your wife 27 years ago in the most cuntish way possible, like
Just and yeah, and then what really like made me like smile was the fact that the guy was like had like cancer spreading all over his body, and you think, yeah, because you're an asshole. And just don't. I mean, don't even share the story in a hospital. Why are you telling that story in a hospital? Like you may have done that to your wife, and that's a horrible, horrible thing to do. But don't share it as like I got a hell of a story for you. Yeah.
and if her daughter is like happens to be the nurse that's treating
Yeah.
you,
I mean, God.
like you know what I mean? Like how it's just
I don't know what was
I
worse,
guess.
whether the guy telling the story is worse than the guy who laughed hysterically at it.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know. I get a lot of people on the phone that say things that are like, oh, when is my check coming? And you're like, oh, it's gonna be like next week, and they're like, oh, the wife will be happy. Oh, she's gonna spend it all, and it's like, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up. That's
Stop being an
like
asshole.
that is
Yeah.
literally your
Yeah.
fault. That is nobody else's fault but
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
So like, just I don't know. It's so I guess it's just really annoying. It's just a thing that you have to live with. It's annoying. Like I find it very hard sometimes to accept that like we do live in a democracy and you are allowed to have free speech. Like the fucking Republican debate thing that happened
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
it's so like because I'm so liberal and stuff like that. I look at this and I'm just like, oh my god, these people need to shut the fuck up. But like, this is their democratic right, and I have to
Yeah.
respect that. But I just don't like. It's so like I don't even
But
understand.
I think it's crazy that there aren't more liberals. Like, don't you think the whole world should be like? It's weird that the whole world isn't liberal, and there are people out there who are like narcissists, and just believe. Oh, it's crazy. Like, it's weird to think to yourself to think why aren't more people like me? Because then you yourself seem like an asshole. But that is what you're ultimately thinking. You're thinking, why isn't everyone like me? You know? Yeah.
It's really hard to accept that the way you see the world isn't how the world is, because ultimately if you are a liberal you are part of a tribe, and like that is a fact, and like everything that you see in the world just reflects your
Yeah.
tribalism, and that's just how it
Mm.
is. Like, you know, like you can't actually get mad at someone for being a conservative. Like, if someone tells me they're a conservative, I just feel a little bit like, oh man, like you've got this whole
Yeah.
thing
What
wrong.
happened?
But it's a legitimate, like, conservatives make a lot of fucking good points.
Absolutely, yeah.
Liberalism is very ideal, and it is really hard to actually accept that sometimes. But I remember I read this comment once on one of our episodes, and it just said, as a conservative, you guys can be exhausting to listen
I bet
to.
we are, yeah.
And I read it, and I was like, what are you talking, like, no, absolutely not. And then I listened a little bit to the episode, and I was like, even at the end of it, I was still like, I just don't think that I've said anything that's overly liberal here. And then I thought about it more and more and more, and I did some research on just tribalism and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, like, this guy is a conservative, so he sees the world in a completely different way to I do. So the way that we see the world is
Great,
gonna clash. Yeah, so
to us,
yeah,
how much like we really grate on Ricky Gervais and his atheist sort of what he does with that. We're kind of the same for liberalism, aren't we? Really?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Which is such a weird
like,
thing to say. Yeah.
I'm very, very vocal. I think I'd say more so than anybody in the FIFA community. I really address my points with a lot of venom. Like, a lot of what I tweet about stuff is really fucking harsh or whatever. Like, I just say lots of things where I can pick two things that I hate and insult them both at the same time by saying something like, anyone who's voting for Donald Trump probably thinks Entourage is a great movie, and there I've insulted two sets of people that I want nothing to do with. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, that's just the way I see the world. And like, for some people, like, Entourage is great entertainment, and I'm just like, oh well, it's fucking it's just vapid falseness.
Yeah, it is.
It's lifestyle porn. But other people can be fully aware of that and still enjoy it, and it makes me hypocritical for enjoying things like that I enjoy, like the Fast and Furious, or, you know, like other stupid things.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I know, and it's so hard.
It's like following. I follow the Kardashians on Instagram or whatever. It's the same thing. You're getting your
so
kick from lifestyle porn, but it's just, you know.
I follow Kylie, Kendall, and
you follow them all, pretty much. Yeah.
I know, it's like, why do I do that as well? And like, oftentimes I just do it because I think people will be surprised by it, and I kind of want someone to be like, why the fuck are you doing this? Just so I can be like, hey man, it's a free country, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I followed the Pope for a while, just for the day that someone would be like, why are you following the Pope? Just so I could be like, because do you know what? Atheism is bullshit, and you're bullshit, and this is what I do, and it's fine. I don't have to be a Catholic to follow the Pope on Twitter, thank you. And like, I'm being a cunt doing that, and like, I know I am, but I'm just waiting for, I don't know, it's really strange. Like, a lot of things you do, like, you're really just doing
to get a win. Like a tiny little win.
Yeah. Just to like push a different complexion of yourself onto the world, which is just like, I cannot view that as anything other than some ultra mega narcissism. Like, narcissism, like, it is really just, I don't know where this conversation.
I think this whole podcast has been about how we're really actually horrible pieces of shit.
Yeah, disguised as
nice people,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I often wonder as well, like, I feel guilty for a lot of like negative thoughts that I have. Like, if I wish bad things on a person, I do have like nights where I lie in bed and I just think like, oh, why am I thinking that? And then other times I'm, oh well, fuck that person anyway. And I find it really hard to like find a balance there where I understand that what I feel is a knee-jerk reaction to something that's happened that affected me in some way, and it's perfectly normal to feel that way, but it's maybe a little bit better to like err on the side of caution or whatever it is. And I don't know, I just feel like I have to say everything that's on my mind all the time, and I need people to listen, so I say it in a very angry way sometimes, or I don't know.
It's a good job you have a place to vent those thoughts, isn't it?
It is. Something like, my following is like, it's very small. Like 34,000 subscribers is not a lot, especially when the amount listening to this is probably about 1,000 people, maybe 1,200 push, and the number of people who actively read my tweets is probably like 500 or something like that. But that's still a lot of people, I guess. Like, even though like I don't really express my gratitude for that an awful lot because I feel like that's tiresome for people to see, and I also feel like people with way more followers than me are going to judge me for it and go, oh, this guy, look how happy he is. I have way more than that, and this guy's happy with this. But it is really cool to have a following to like say these things to and get like a positive response and stuff. It's also cool to have people who are interested in what you have to say, because I feel like that's something that I really need sometimes, like to like vent and things like that.
No, I think it's a positive reinforcement or whatever, isn't it? It's just, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah.
I guess a final talking point would be Jeb Bush said that his brother, or whatever he is, kept the country safe, and not one person was like, 9/11.
Yeah, he let that happen. Or he
Yeah.
didn't let it happen, but it happened on his watch because of actions that his father took in...
Sure, it's probably harsh to blame George Bush for 9/11, fine, but don't fucking say that he kept the country safe. Well, that's kind of debatable.
Yeah, because it happened while he was president, and then they invaded a country, and then another country, and then after that, the country is still being a target because of those actions. You think, well, I'm not entirely sure that's true. Yeah, but they seem like a good family, so you know that's alright.
They're just a great bunch of lads. Jeb Bush also said that Margaret Thatcher should have her face on the $10 bill.
Yeah, no, he's a good fella. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Actual quote, like.
Why did he say that? What was the question? Like, there must have been a question.
Do you think Margaret Thatcher should have her face? I don't know.
He can't have just come out with that like off the just broadcast it from his YouTube channel. And also, one final thought: I think Margaret Thatcher should have her face. No, he's not going to speak in an English accent, but yeah.
Isn't that so like? Oh man, what can I do to show these people I'm?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They do so much pandering, like. Oh, I think we should maintain our relationship with Israel. Yeah, I agree. Like, of course you agree. You're all Republican. You don't need to say this shit. Like, that's like in the liberal debate. It's like fucking Jeremy Corbyn coming up and saying, "Do you know what? I'm just gonna say this. Like, I'm not a mean guy. I don't have a lot of like hate in my soul for people. But if I was in a room with Adolf Hitler in 1945, I would probably tell him to go to hell."
Yeah.
Just saying.
The thing is, it's like it's that sort of pandering to people who are already Republicans is the same as when at a wrestling event, the guy who opens with the mic says, "It's great to be here in Philadelphia," and the crowd go wild, and you just think, "Yeah, okay."
It's the same as Macklemore saying, "You know what, guys? It's okay to be gay. Officially, I've decided. I, Macklemore, have decided to give my opinion on this social rights movement that has been encompassing everything around it, and I'm gonna say, yep, that's cool." Like, it's just not needed. Like, you're just doing that to get like such a cheap pop.
Yeah.
Like, it is the Mick Foley cheap
it is,
pop of politics. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not gonna follow. Oh, you know what? I started watching House of Cards.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons. Yeah, I haven't watched the third one yet.
Oh, really? I'm on like episodes. I'm near episode 8, I think.
It's amazing. Good. Yeah, he's Kevin Spacey is great.
He's unreal. Yeah, it's the whole looking at the camera and talking thing is very good. Yeah, I really like it so far. There's a whole lot of like legal talk and stuff, and it can be a little bit difficult to follow, but I really enjoy it. It's very, very good. More on that as I watch it and come up with criticisms for it and dissect it and do what I do. But since I stopped watching Suits.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new season.
I guess. Yeah. Nah, I'm so done with that show. Like, we get it, Harvey. You've opened the folder. You've said this is good. What else is there really? What else is there to your character? But yeah, I guess I needed another show that just like rams jargon down my throat. That insists that this is the way things are done in that world or whatever. But it's very sophisticated, I feel, and you know what I really loved in the first 3 episodes? I think David Fincher directed the first
He
3
did,
or
yeah,
first 2
a
at
couple,
least.
yeah,
When people sent the text from their phone,
on
it
the
would
screen,
come up
yeah,
onto the screen. That's such a Fincher trait. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. That's like, oh, it's so David Fincher. And then I was like, wow, I'm such a nerd. And then I felt safe in that. A couple other things. Have you got Metal Gear Solid 2?
I have not. No, I'm gonna. My birthday's coming up soon, so I figured I'd probably just buy it for myself then, rather than get it now.
Ah, sweet.
I played some of it. Yeah, my mate's got it, so I went round his the other day. No, he came around here and bought it, and we played some of it. Yeah, it's amazing. But he basically said something along the lines of, it's like the best game, like the action game he's ever played, but it's not a particularly good Metal Gear Solid game. And I was
That's
like,
literally what I was about
right,
to say.
yeah,
Like Metal Gear Solid 2 changed my
right,
life. This game is really good. It's like what would it be like? It's like Muse. It's like really, really good technically, that I want to love it, and I can't really fault it, other than the lyrics. Like, the story is not captivating me.
no. Isn't it basically just they set you on a bunch of missions, you do them, and then that's it, pretty much?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, within that
but
story,
also-
you get to tell the story yourself, but there is no story really to tell.
No, there's not, and that's in the Metal Gear universe. That's a really drastic
Yeah.
change.
I mean, I see it. My mate did a mission the other day where he like captured a bear for no reason. Like he took he Fultoned the bear back up to like the lab or whatever, and then that was it. And you think, well, what was the purpose of that? And then he was like, well, to explain it, he was like, well, then Mother Base grows, and then we need to go back get some more flowers. And I was like, why do you need to do these things? For what purpose are you doing these things? And he's like, well, to make Mother Base grow. And I'm like, why do you need to make Mother Base grow? It's just, it's just...
Like, that is really not interesting at all. The little things that you have to do to get, like, in, like, Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game, you have to go and, like, get, or in The Last of Us, you have to get supplements, and you have to get, like, iron and things to build craft and stuff. Like, that doesn't, I just don't, I feel like with games, they're splitting into 2 types of games. And one is where it's this huge open world experience with a fantastic story that's fleshed out by these side missions that you have to do, like capturing a bear, getting supplements, like crafting things with iron, getting parts for a gun, or Resident Evil style, good old fashioned finding things that glisten in side rooms while you fight zombies to open a door that's right in front of you the whole time. And then there's the other games that are like that Ellen Page game, Beyond Two Souls, or that Until Dawn game, where the story is
the Telltale Walking Dead games are like an example of that, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I like that type of game more, and I feel like that's what I'll lean towards in the future, because the vastness of Metal Gear is just really intimidating.
Yeah, I've got that. Like, watching it, like the amount of options, and then selecting the weapons, and then you think you've just got to do an awful lot of stuff. All I want to do is like sneak up on a guy and then throw him in a locker. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. I know. I feel like Metal Gear Solid 2 is just the perfect game in everything about it. The way it transitions into story and it goes all crazy at the end in classic Hideo Kojima fashion. But the new one is just, I don't know. It just doesn't. Kiefer Sutherland. I want David Hayter. Like, I don't care about Kiefer Sutherland. It's like he's not even there for most of the game anyway. He never fucking says anything. Like, there's no, I don't know. I just, that's not to say I don't absolutely love the game.
Yeah, because like the gameplay is fantastic, isn't it? I played some of it.
It's outrageously good. Yeah, it's perfect. Like, it is actually perfect. It's just, I want to feel like I've accomplished more than just being good at the game. I want a life lesson from Solid Snake. I want the kid in me to be so satisfied with the nostalgic rush from hearing a 25-minute codec conversation with Master Move or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, disappointing, I guess. but somehow is still the best game of all time. So
Yeah.
Another thing that I've been playing a lot lately, which I made you buy, is Age of Empires 2. If any of you guys are listening want to play it with me anytime, like, tweet me in the evening and I should be around, because I fucking love that game and I can't get enough of it.
I genuinely don't know how you have the time. Like, I bought it thinking I would have the time, and I just don't. I just get home from work, I'm like, do I have the time to play Age of Empires now? And I'm just like, no, I don't.
I time everything around
Nice.
now. Like, I came home today and the first thing I did was load up my computer and play a game of it. And like, I did the same. I had a day off yesterday. I got home to my house at about 5 o'clock in the day, which is the earliest I've been home on a weekday in months. And I played 2 games of it then, and like, yeah, I really, it's so satisfying when you win, and so disheartening when you lose, but such an immensely enjoying game, like, enjoyable game, not enjoying game. Enjoying game is what I do when I'm playing it, but it is really good, and we should definitely play.
We should. But yeah, because like, I had a day off today, and I genuinely thought about I'd get home this afternoon and I might play it, but I had a doctor's appointment this morning. Then I went to see my grandparents, and when I got home, I had some lunch, and then sort of by the time you finish, it's like 3 o'clock, and you're thinking, I've got some stuff I've downloaded, and you just think, I haven't got. It's just a chore at that point then to sort of like.
I know. I haven't even started watching the Fear the Walking Dead.
No, neither have I. I've watched one episode, and then I've got 2 downloaded that I haven't watched yet.
I've watched I abandoned True Detective season 2.
Yeah.
I just fuck that show and everything about it. I just don't fucking care.
The only show I've watched recently that properly, I downloaded Ballers, the show with The Rock, only because I'll watch anything that has The Rock in it. And it's like, it's basically like Entourage, but with The Rock. And it's actually really, really enjoyable, but it's not a good show about humans.
One of my pals was telling me last night that it's good, and I'm just like...
It's really, really good, but it's like, if they're not good people on the show. It's just,
yeah. That doesn't surprise me. No, I don't know. I need like a fucking week to catch up with all the pop culture I feel like I'm missing out on all the time with working.
Yeah.
Like, it's outrageous. But yeah, that, I think we'll leave. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I think we've pretty much like discussed how we're awful people. And that's about it. I'd like to leave it there.
Do you want to read out the thing that you pasted to me on Skype? You know, the 3,904 word manifesto that you wrote?
No, we'll leave that. We'll leave that for the next. We'll leave that for the next one. Yeah. Okay. We'll leave that for episode 50 because it's
Episode 50 starts with you just like triumphant, like quoting like Mussolini.
Yeah.
Just how many people in the comment section do you think are going to be wondering what's wrong with you? Like that you're going to the doctors and you're unwell and everything?
Probably not that many. Just like, I mean, they might care. But then I'll just lie in the comments anyway. Next episode.
Yeah, that's what I
next
suspected.
episode I'll just be like, oh yeah, I've got SARS or something.
I was gonna say and is the hand grenade still locked?
Yeah. Now the metal is. Oh, one of the other things about Metal Gear Solid is the fucking metal lodged in the side of his head. Like, I watched the game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why has he got horns? And my mate was like, he's not got horns. I was like, what do you mean he's not got horns? I said, he's clearly got a horn. He said, no, that's a piece of metal that lodged in Snake's brain and that keeps him alive. And I'm like, this game. It's just like...
What the fuck does Metal Gear Solid mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean? Isn't it the robot?
Is that a description or like a statement or like what are those words when you like Neutral Milk Hotel works just as well as a title. Like, I don't understand Metal Gear Solid. I
think he came up with a name as a nonsense thing, and then he's built a story around a nonsense name, and then somehow we kind of accept it. Like, yeah, because the Metal Gears are the robots, and he's Solid Snake, so it all adds up. Like, no. I think he just came up with something completely nonsensical and then just built a story around that. Yeah.
He is the most nonsensical genius
Yeah.
ever. Everything he does is just amazing. I don't know. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys, isn't he?
May he rest
So
in
glad.
peace. I can't believe he was Breaking Bad all
Yeah.
along in True Detective,
I
fearing the Walking Dead in his House of
Lies.
Cards.
Oh, no, we went cards. Damn it. House of Lies is a show, though, isn't it? I think
Is
so.
it?
Yeah, it's got the guy from Yeah, no, we end it. We end the podcast now. I can't. No.
In his House of Flying
Yeah.
Daggers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses. Is it too late? Yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses is a movie, isn't it?
13 Ghosts.
It takes your mind again. Exile. It takes your mind again. You got suckers luck. Have you given up? Does it feel like a trial? Does it trouble your mind the way you trouble mine? Exile. It takes your mind again. Exile. It takes your mind again. Oh, you've missed so much. Have you given up? Does it feel like a trial? Does it trouble your mind the way you trouble mine? Does it feel like a trial? No, you're thinking too fast. You're like marbles on glass. Vilified. Don't even try. Vilified. Don't even try. You got suckers luck. Have you given up? Does it feel like a trial? Does it trouble your mind the way you trouble mine? Does it feel like a trial? Did you fall for the same empty answers again? Vilified.